Welcome to another episode of InvestStream. I'm Pankaj and I'm here with my friend Sanjay Nath, founder and managing director of Blume Ventures. What about B2B and SaaS, like, enterprise level software has lagged in India for years, right? Like Freshdesk would never have survived if they only focused on India. And we've seen so many companies that are fabulous companies, but India was just never a good market for them. And now we're starting to see today more and more companies building enterprise software for India. They might still look at foreign markets, but really focusing on the Indian enterprise customer. Where do you see that going over the next couple of years? Do you think Indian enterprises are really ready to start spending on technology, and medium to large enterprises?
Sure. You was just at Tycon in Silicon Valley last week, and we had the same conversation. I think one big advantage that India has had over China is, of course, the English language, and the fact that we've had a very strong both a cross-border and a tech orientation in terms of engineering talent, but most of the engineering talent always went more into services, right? The Infosys, Wipro. We didn't really have the mentality of a product manager, product-driven innovation.
Sure.
I think B2B has also sort of morphed or evolved from classic enterprise from SaaS, right, which is of course going to see a lot of growth, to let's call it advanced tech, right? So I'll give you examples. So I think what Freshdesk and our own Belong and other SaaS models have proved is that we're really good at using India's, let's call it, labor arbitrage to do lead generation in a very advanced way, and then having your founders or chief sales officers here in the US or Singapore going after global markets. So I think that model has been proven. Today you hear Girish at Freshdesk and the others talking about finding those growth levers, finding those growth engines. I think lead generation or enterprise SaaS has sort of, there is a playbook today, and Freshdesk and the others have written that. We've got great hotel logics in our own portfolio, right? Locus is kind of in the middle, right? SaaS and enterprise software.
Right.
If you look at enterprise software and advanced tech, the likes of Grey Orange, which is automating warehousing using robots. Locus, which is basically using AI to automate the last mile logistics delivery. Tricog, which is using AI to deliver, save lives, and basically has an algorithm that reduces, that could predict heart attacks, much more accurately. You're seeing talent. I think a big shift has been talent, both from the US but also ingrown from the ISCs in areas like deep learning, neural networks, AI, machine learning, which is again not the case, right? Talent was a missing factor because you had it at the founder level, but you didn't have it at the VP of engineering level. You didn't have enough data scientists in
you had a lot of people that were just in academia and they wouldn't leave academia.
So I think tech has morphed. So it's not. I think a lot of the growth is going to come from SaaS because it's proven. I think the other areas are equally interesting. So we've looked at. We've not announced it as yet, but from Fund 3 we look at a company that is basically it's voice AI, which is basically using voice optimization software and deep learning to cut call centers, the average transaction time or call time from call centers from 30 minutes to 2 minutes.
Wow.
That can be transformative, right? If somebody's on hold for, it's a service industry with the airline. So we're seeing deep learning and becoming much more than buzzwords and actually becoming reality, where 80 or 90% of the teams can be based in Bangalore and the rest move to the valley or outside. So that it's been quite a shift of enterprise software moving from SaaS to SaaS plus
AI
these advanced
and,
areas.
Interesting. What are some of the things that you are concerned about when it comes to startups and just the overall ecosystem in India right now?
I think one that's a great question. I think one of the if you look at the B2B side, I think one is the focus on customers, which I think is very just second nature here in the Valley or in the US, right? I think and I think the media also plays an interesting role, both which both good and not so good, which is really the focus on funding, right? I mean, the fact is that you focus on customers and focus on solving a problem, scalable problem, the funding will come, not the other way around. So I think that while Indian enterprises are adopting faster, I think entrepreneurs really have to find out where their market is, right?
Yeah.
Be close to your market, focus on that.
Right.
I think that's really, really important, because that's how, crossing the chasm in B2B is getting from that 2 million to 5 million, 5 million to 10. There are many B2B companies that are stuck in that 2 to 5.
Yeah.
Once you get past the 10 million ARR and you're growing at a healthy clip,
Right.
which
There's
is
plenty
when
of
you're
capital
going to,
available now.
you're going to get to the capital, you may not even need it
Yeah.
because you have customers. So that's
Yeah.
on the B2B side. I think on the consumer side, again, capital is an important moat, right? Of course it is. I mean, you have Swiggy.
Yep.
So today you have actually, a Minotaur fundraise where the fundraise itself is $1 billion.
Yeah.
Forget the company being a unicorn.
Yeah.
So of course capital is a moat, but I think again startups really have to focus really what they're good at. I mean, we've got Dunzo, right, which has developed fantastic customer loyalty.
Yeah.
Very
I know.
intense customer loyalty in Bangalore.
I almost invested in Dunzo also, but I passed on it because it was food delivery back then.
That's right. So
and they've transformed the whole model. And everybody in Bangalore that I meet or talk to, we're going to Dunzo it. It's a verb now.
It's a verb. That's right. And
Right.
it's not a coincidence. Or it's in one sense it's irony that Google invested, because Google is also a verb.
Yeah.
So now Google's invested or partnered with the company with Dunzo, and both are verbs, right?
Yeah.
You Dunzo it and Google it.
Yeah.
Or if you look at a milk basket, which is doing micro delivery, I think I would say the message for us as investors is actually to back those founders who are so obsessed about solving a problem that they're not going to get deterred, because there's a large incumbent, but they're going to figure out a way and become really good at that. So I think Dunzo is a great example. I think one risk that we find is founders, I want to say like burning out, and what I mean by that is, can you round out the team early?
Yep.
We take a management team risk, right? But you have to have that risk taken out by the time you go for a B or a C, definitely.
Absolutely.
And I think there's some good examples happening. If you look at of course they're very well funded, but Aditya Ghosh joining Oyo. Let's say there's an ex-Bain partner, he's now with Delivery.
Yep.
We need more of that, because you've got founders. Founders will always be, obviously they're the most brilliant, and they'll always be the closest and the most obsessive about the problem, but they need the grey hair, they need the been there done that guys to execute, right? When you raise 100 million, how do you spend it?
Absolutely.
Where do you spend it? How do you allocate
And
the
who spent it
resources?
responsibly, right? Like we've also seen plenty of examples where founders are not
We
responsible.
saw
with their spending.
housing.com, right? All of
Yeah.
that. So I think that's a positive change, and we're getting a lot of. What's interesting to us as VCs, we've got quite a strong ecosystem. The number of pings from CEOs and senior executives that we get, at Blume, is that, hey, I am the CEO of this pharma company. I'd love to look at your healthcare platform, to angel invest, to mentor, to maybe become an independent board member. That's fantastic for the ecosystem, which was not the case.
Just even 2-3 years ago, it wasn't the case.
About 10 years ago, some of them are even like, vicariously watching, hey, all this is going to tank, let's watch from the outside and have a laugh.
It's how people are looking at crypto today.
Today they want to jump in, right? They want to be part of. They want to be part of this.
Absolutely.
Part of the story.
I think a big validation point in India, at least, was when Ratan Tata started investing in startups, right? Like that. I think for the established corporate mindset, that was the real stamp of approval. That if he's ready to start putting his money here, and not just his money but his time, then perhaps we're wrong, and it's time to move on.
It's interesting, right? I mean, sometimes that's overplayed, underplayed, but what's interesting is got people's attention.
Yeah,
got people
it's a
thinking.
signal.
People said, wow, if he's doing it, what are we missing, right?
Yeah.
This is the positive side of FOMO.
Absolutely.
I think the negative side is about like food tech getting carried away in a cycle. The positive side is that, wow, if he's looking at it, maybe there's something here.
Absolutely.
And today I can tell you the number of family offices, of executives that are investing into funds, that are investing into startups, that are mentoring startups, which is really what we need, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell these young founders what are the mistakes to avoid and help them, especially in the scaling part. So it's great when we get these emails and LinkedIn requests from senior executives who want to partner. It's great for the ecosystem.
Absolutely.